friend, I'm Deborah Larson.
And I'm Katie Shive.
And you're listening to the Redeeming Her podcast, where we aim to create a safe place for honest conversations that will inspire you to discover God's love through your pain. Our goal is to help you reframe your story and find freedom for the future.
So grab a latte and maybe some Kleenex, and let's dive into this week's episode. Hey there, welcome to another episode of Redeeming Her. You get Deborah and Katie coming at you. So Deborah, I wanted to share this thing with you. So last night I was brushing my teeth. Actually, it was this morning. It's 12:30 because, sometimes I don't feel like I sleep. I was brushing my teeth. For context, my husband's on a work trip, so I'm solo parenting. It's not a sob story. It's just a reality. And I was behind on work, so I was working late. So I'm brushing my teeth. It's 12:30 in the morning, and I'm scrolling, you're numbingly scrolling through Instagram while you brush your teeth, because heaven forbid I just brushed my teeth.
The multitasking.
And I'm multitasking even when I don't need to be. That's probably a sign in and of itself. So anyways, I come upon, somebody's story, that they share, and it was two people talking, and the person that shared it, I really trust. Like, they always share really good stuff from a mom's perspective. So I click on it, and it's these two ladies reading a story. It is very moving, but she's reading I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like an allegory. Like, it's a perspective of a lady that's in her 80s, but she's reflecting back on a moment in her 80s. And she referenced it as the exact number as I am. So I was like, it hit me right where I was at. But in short, she's talking about this lady, goes to bed as an 80-year-old, and she wakes up the next morning as her 38-year-old self for one day. She gets to go back. I know, right? You are still young. Stop it. You are not there.
I just want to go back to 38.
I am currently there. Gray hair and all. But so she's talking about, this lady woke up as her 38-year-old self, and she's reframing the story like, my kids are in my bed and they're giggling, and I go downstairs and I wrap my arms around my husband for a long hug. And I'm reveling in the fact that my body doesn't feel sore and I have energy. And my kids are fighting, and breakfast is chaos, and I'm rushing to get them out the door. But this time I don't rush. I savor all of the moments. And so she recounts her day, comparing it from, as a 38-year-old mom, I was exhausted and I was rushed and it was chaos. And, I just didn't savor the moment. And now, as my 80-year-old self, I would give anything to go back and hug my babies as 4-year-olds. And I could cry thinking about it, because I'm in that season of life, and I've heard you talk about it before. We were like, gosh, if I could just go back to when my kids were small and we had, sword fights on the carpet, like those were the days, right?
Yeah, they were the days. And to be honest, that brought me to tears this morning when I woke up at 4:30.
We're in opposite schedules. I go to bed right about when you're waking up.
So what I am grateful for is there's just a lot of busyness in my life right now. I was grateful that I got 7 hours of sleep. So for those,
that's big for you. That is big for you. Big.
It is. But I'm going to tell you why is because
Did you have a tranquilizer?
The horse kind?
In the butt. Yeah, dart in the butt. That's about what it takes for you to get 7 hours of sleep.
Well, I have been sleeping in my prayer room.
Okay.
And, I call it my encounter bed, where years ago, when I was vetting through all the things of my life and considering what God needed to change, because I was going to hear him, period. God has to be real. If he isn't real, I don't want to do this. It's not an easy life. It's not because there's not pleasure and there's joy, but I need to know he's real. So when I wrestle with him, I wrestle with him. At one point in time, I truly believed I was the strongest woman I ever met. And I don't believe that anymore. And it's not because I'm not strong. It's because of what you just talked about. Mm-hmm. As you look back on things, and I say this, I'm speaking to every woman listening here. As you look back on things, somewhere in your heart, you knew you're gonna miss this. You're going to miss this. As hard, and that's to me the voice of the Spirit that says, you're going to miss this. Treasure where you are in the moment, because that moment is gone that fast.
Yeah.
And then I woke up to your beautiful little, what did Katie send me? And here I am crying, listening,
Yes.
not 80, but I feel everything that she described.
Yep.
It had nothing to do with the minimizing of where we are today. It was a reminder, hey, there's a bigger thing out here, and we need to be having a whole heck of a lot more fun.
Yes.
Can I go dancing? So
Right.
I scroll through this couple. They're Australians, I think.
Yep.
I'm
Well, they're
scrolling.
not a couple. They're two friends like us. So they're
Yes.
not like a dating couple. They're two girlfriends, but similar format. They're just really fun banter.
I forget we have to qualify those things. So I actually don't even think about it. But they are besties, and their whole life is hecka funny. And I'm thinking, okay, what part do I sit on this conversation?
Yeah.
Where's my
Yeah.
personality fitting in here?
Right.
What it reminded me of is we need to enjoy the journey, no matter what that journey is.
Yeah.
And after how you get there, enjoy the journey, because you're going to look back and go, oh, I wish I'd laughed at that. I wish that was just the biggest, I should have just shamed myself, and been crazy. She was like, what about Texas? And she was asking me about how I ended up in Reno and how the Holy Spirit tricked me. And he's like luring me because Katie lives there. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever it takes, right?
It was. And I'm like, I love her. And he was, but she lives there. And I said, okay, but what do you want? Because I have this conversation with God. And when you want a real relationship, which is we're looking for authenticity, and we're going to post, I guess I got to come out now, because now I've been posting. And it's like, okay, we're looking for authenticity. We're looking for your voice. And you're like, we can't polish up, because the truth isn't polished.
Right.
Life is raw.
No, it's totally raw. And I mean, that's one thing that I love about this podcast and just the stories that we share is, hopefully you, our listeners, also feel that the sincerity of, when we share, whether it's our own stories or for guests, like it's really in the moment what we're processing or what's really happening. It's not, we're not running these through AI and reading scripts. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's the real and the raw. And that's what people crave. I mean, especially like I've been going, professionally, I've really been going down the rabbit hole of AI and using it for strategy and content, all of the things. And from a personal branding standpoint, I'm like, hey, the more that things get perfect and polished, it's actually going to be more damaging and detrimental because people are tuning out. But going back, I mean, I want to camp where you were just at it for a second of like, I think life goes so fast. When I was younger and not even like a kid, but just in my early adults, I just kind of had this sense of like infinity, right? Like, oh, I've got the rest of my life to do X, Y, and Z. And although that is true, you don't really have this concept for how fast time goes, right? Everybody told me like, oh, wait till you have kids, then life feels like it goes fast. And it's like, whatever. Now I have kids and I'm like, how did I get here? And it does go fast. But for me, I'm really, if I'm being honest, as a mom with small kids, I'm really struggling with that concept because I have moments in my day where I'm like, okay, can we get out of the potty training phase? Like feels forever. Like there are some parts of your journey that are like, this isn't my favorite. Doesn't mean I don't love my kid. Doesn't mean I don't love being a mom. It just means like, this is extra taxing in certain ways. But that to play the devil's advocate, I constantly feel this pressure of like, I'm going to blink and they're going to be gone and I'm going to be sad. And it's like it steals the joy from the moment. And I haven't quite gotten victory over like, how do I celebrate being in the present and savoring that as a gift, but not also having moments where like, I'm frustrated and I'd be okay if we skipped, a couple months forward or, whatever. So I'm really struggling with that.
But I can tell you, I remember now, I know I said this yesterday, but my youngest is getting ready to have his first. I remember you with your first. I wish I had someone in my life today that remembered me with my first to give feedback and perspective, because what we long for is connection. And there is nothing greater than connecting with this. I tell people, if you got anxiety, I'm ready to go visit the hospital right now and go to the baby nursery. And can I just sit and hold a few babies for a while? And those nurses would go, how old are you?
Yeah.
Because there's something about the innate connection to an infant whose presence just came from heaven. And you're sitting there and something pulls on you like nothing else matters but this moment. And I remember when Amelia was born, because I got to be there. I was so excited. I remember all the work and all the fatigue and how hard it was. And it's not supposed to be all that way. I'm like, wait, and then I hear other people that go, well, I just claim this in the word, because the word says that we don't have pain anymore.
That was
And I'm
not
like,
my story.
look, I'm all about faith, but I had pain. I had pain on all 3 births, and we just managed that.
But you had natural birth. See, like nope.
I know. And my son's bride is making her choices that are different from mine. It's interesting how our perspectives and how we connect with that really influence our choices. We really think we're in control, but I'm going to tell you right now, your body's got a lot of stuff and a lot of memory. And I can't imagine that when you went in to have Cohen that you didn't remember a few things.
Yeah.
Because it does. But back to where you are this is why I think we need community. This is why I think we need relationship of all ages. Like, I know we have a good packet of time between us, but the bigger thing is I need to hear you reflect on where you are. And I want to help your person today not be the person I had to work through. The community is about an exchange of relationship and connectivity. And you may not have the same experience that we've had, but you need to hear something from someone else that goes, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I never realized that we do this as moms. If you've birthed a child, you understand that. If you haven't, God bless you. I know that you wanted it most. You wanted it, but I'm going to tell you right now, you saved yourself a lot of physical, whether it's adoption or whatever. The whole point being is when you connect with that infant, it pulls out the authentic you. And that authentic you needs to be reminded that you go sit with kids. That's why I love teaching children. They are so invigorating to me. They make my heart happy. They make you want to jump up and down and go, can I come and see you? And those are the pieces of life from this point to this point, no matter where the second point is, that we need to bridge, because that's how we were made to be. We were never made to be solo, isolated, and on top of it. And when I was telling Carrie yesterday, I think I was the strongest woman I've ever known. I'm thinking today, I'm not that strong, because the truth is we have a lot of masks, we have a lot of responsibilities, and we're really good at posturing and moving forward on stuff. But when we're being like this, it's like, I'm naked. I don't want anybody to see me naked right now.
Right. Yes. I saw just speaking of another post, I'm going to read it, but I was looking at this last night too. It was shared from another mom friend. And it says, I remember that drive home from the hospital. I couldn't believe they just let me leave with a whole human. No instruction manual, no final check, just congratulations, you're a mom now. I sat in the back seat staring at this tiny bundle, terrified and completely in love. The whole world just kept rushing by like everything was normal, but nothing about me was. Because in that moment, I realized life would never feel small again when my whole heart was buckled into the back seat. But it made me think about, not just the first time you drive home with your child, but in any part, life. Like, something can happen in your life, traumatic or wonderful, and you're never the same person after that moment. And it just put me in that thought of like, here she is sitting in the backseat of a car. Her whole life changed, who she is as a person is not the same as who she drove to the hospital, right?
Mhm.
And the whole world is rushing by to, they're driving to work, they're driving to whatever in their own space, but like she's in a moment where it's like, almost split in time. And isn't that true? We all have these moments where life changes us for the better or the worse. Yeah, it's having community like you're saying in your life, that somebody can come alongside of you. And to me, you and other mentors in my life have really reflected the voice of wisdom, right? Like the Holy Spirit speaking through you. And I think that's what's beautiful about having other women in our life, because, I can do the same for younger people, but it really is that spirit of wisdom of, hey, cherish this moment as much as you're tired, overwhelmed, stressed, or whatever. You're going to look back and say, these were the good old days, because they are.
Yeah, they are the good
And I
old days.
do hope that I can say that when I'm, in my young 60s like you. I just want to look as good as you when I'm in my 60s. At this current rate, I was like, I don't know what it's going to be like, but I want to look like go watch us on video, you guys. Deborah's a cougar. I always say this, but go watch on video. Now you're
Well, I appreciate that. We have to work harder at it. I never had to work hard before. Now we're like, oh, what's this spot over here for? And it's kind of frustrating. And the funny thing,
I wish I could find a photo of us like when we met 20 years ago. I don't even know if we have a photo, but I mean, you don't really look like you've aged much. You really do have great genes. Just saying.
and
I'm not being kind. I'm being truthful.
I would love
I've
you
known
for
you
that.
20 years.
A lot of skincare. So
now you probably pay as much in skincare as I pay in daycare, so maybe
that was mean.
I'm kidding. No, all your holistic regimen, your red light, your brain thing.
You know what?
Like you are a fountain of youth. You have found this. You've hacked the formula.
And I'm going to tell you, I will continue to do so.
Hey, there's no shame in that game. When I'm done paying for daycare, I probably will flip that switch and be right behind
You've
you.
already worked it into your budget, girl.
Oh, my daycare budget is nauseating, like every other parent out there.
You did scare me with that one.
Yeah.
I want to read what I found is the saying of the day for me, but I think it goes right along with what we're talking about, because we cannot be vulnerable if we are not being authentic to ourselves individually. That what you read that mom said was, she's like, I feel really vulnerable and raw here. I have no experience. I have no resume. You're not going to see anything, and I can make a mistake with an entire human being. True that.
Yep.
That, on the flip side, shows me how much of God is in us, because we still muscle through with no ability. And listen, I like to learn before I want to try to teach you, because I feel inadequate,
Right.
But when we're looking at that, the whole place and the whole message is about you being true to yourself. And that's what this says. It says true belonging is the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself so deep that you can share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in both being a part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. Now, that's scary, because we both get to have the fullness of time, the bounty of God and life and marriage and family, and we're all going to walk through a wilderness, no matter what that wilderness looks like. And
okay, I want you to put that. We'll put that in the show notes. I want you to send that to me, because that is such a beautiful quote or thought.
It is. Let me finish the last sentence here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. True belonging does not require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. And sometimes within ourselves, when we look in the mirror, we have self-talk that maybe we would post.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I actually was using the oil of skincare, which I really thought would be great. But either I have a problem with olives, or my skin is having some kind of teenage effect in my 60s. I'm like, I never ever had a problem. I had freckles all over.
Is it the Aloe Vera brand? I've been hearing about that brand. Yeah.
I like it. It has hyaluronic acid, it has retinol in it, and it's natural. So I'm all into the natural. And it is the cost of daycare, I'm just going to say. But when I was using it, my skin was reacting and I wake up all red and I've got little pimples all over my face. I'm like, where did this come from? Like, I was blessed not to have bad skin. I was, as far as without the melatonin, the white face. You know?
Right.
But when I started using it, it was bothering me. And so I just wrote the gal, I said, thank you. This must be super really good, but we're just going to get off of this because it's not suiting me. But when I looked in the mirror, I was terrified that I was having postmenopausal acne. And, and I'm like, I've never had to do that. I've never had to do that. And it's not the vanity as much as it is, I think, security and our identity. Because we do too much because of identity, or we don't do enough because of identity. And we don't recognize how we pick it up. And the experiences in our life form a perspective wherewith we look through a lens of identity that may or may not belong to us. And we have to be true to ourselves to be able to say, this really isn't me. I don't remember this person. I've never struggled with this before. How do I find my true north?
Right. It reminds me of the phrase, I'll probably botch how it actually says, but when you put a frog in you put a frog in boiling water and it jumps right out. You put a frog in lukewarm water and turn it on and slowly and it will dry, right? And I think that is similar to our life. We are impacted by circumstances and we end up surviving, right? Like that's how we were designed in that fight or flight. We have to survive. And so like when I reflect back, so many years of my life were out of a point of survival. And I think that's honestly why I ended up hating burnout and leaving my corporate job and all of the things, because you can only survive for so long. And then it's like one moment when I woke up and the pain of my loss and all of my trauma wasn't as if it had just happened. It had waned a little bit. All of a sudden I'm like, I don't recognize me anymore. Like who am I and how did I get here? And so I think it's actually, if you didn't listen to our last week's episode, go back and listen to it. We'll also link that. But we talk about what daring greatly is and what it means to have, to be brave. And I think pairing on what you just shared, it takes bravery and courage to really come back to your true self, to say, hey, I'm going to take off the mask. That persona, that person served me for a season and it wasn't my truest self, but it's not that it was, out of a place of sin. It's just survival. But I'm going to trust I'm going to trust me. Like that's part of where I feel like this journey for me in the last year is like, I feel like I'm starting to finally trust myself. And there's a level of rest and confidence that comes. It's not a place of arrogance of I'm the best or I'm this. It's like, I'm just not going to second guess every little thing. Like I trust myself because I trust who he is in me.
Yeah. And sometimes I have to go back, even just the last couple of days. I do have the mind of Christ. I am not double-minded. I understand the things of the Spirit. And I'm saying this to be raw because I've had a lot of feedback from just acquaintances and friends, but Deborah, you're this and you're that. And I said, just reminds me of that Tyler Perry song way back when. You don't know that I go running home when I fall down, because I fall down. It's just not, I don't look at the way that our life runs now on camera, on social media, whether we do business or we're encouraging or we're counseling. It's also impersonal to me because I look at the camera, I'm like, I need to have a person on the other side that I'm engaging with. That's how I was raised. And I missed that piece of it. But when you get on camera, it's like, we're supposed to be this way. We're supposed to have the answers. And we have a lot of answers. I don't always have your answer. And that's where I think that the plasticity needs to be washed away. And then the vulnerability needs to actually allow some things to surface. I had no idea I was having all kinds of other issues going on. Like I remember when in Reno, and I was getting ready to go over to Redding to see Jeremy, and all that stuff was going on. And my heart was racing and everything was going crazy. And I'm like, I don't have cardiac issues. And I had to talk to myself. I don't have cardiac. I'm a long distance runner. I have a great heart. This is not who I am. But it's so hard when everything comes in at one time in one place. And even today, I'm not running long distance right now. And then all this anxiousness that comes up, and I'm thinking, I don't have these issues. I have never been a fear driven girl. I am not concerned about every piece of tomorrow, although I consider it. And
Right.
talk yourself through that can be overwhelming when we don't recognize I'm in a new season and now I have to be more vulnerable. I had no idea I have residue.
Right. Right.
It just happens. And I really want to share that because I'm not one to go on social media and go, let me just bare my butt to the world.
Yeah.
Writing this book feels like I'm naked in the front yard. It felt so good to talk to Carrie yesterday about it. I think we talked about it before we got online.
Yeah.
I should have just hit go. But the bigger thing was when you're starting to reveal vulnerabilities, it's not because I'm ashamed of my life. And yet once I start to see it from a different perspective, shame will hover. And I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. But knowing that in our world right now, everybody and their brother is going to read your story and have their opinion. I'm like, I ain't asking for your opinion. And if you don't like it, don't read my book. Because it then poses something that you have to check yourself again. For instance, somebody posted a section of The Chosen. If anybody's ever watched The Chosen, it's the whole message of Jesus and his walk in his life. And it's beautiful. And whether you feel he's a good prophet or he is the Son of God, it's still a great show. It really is. What we forget is creative liberty in that. Because in order to sell us to go to the movies and watch it, because we're marketing everything, even Christ, in order to sell these things, we have to add in some of these emotional nuances or situations that perhaps didn't even happen.
Yeah.
Those are pieces. So they posted this and they go, can you imagine God saying this to you? And it had to be when Thomas was engaged to one of the gals and then she died. And he's looking at Jesus to raise her, like he's watched him do these great miracles. And I'm thinking, okay, let's put this in perspective. This is creative liberty. This is nothing that I've read anywhere in the Word of God that he would use a traumatic event to teach you something because we're going to grow you there because that's just not the kindness of his heart. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a stern side to him, right?
Totally. Right. Yeah.
So I'm looking at that going, trigger. I'm ready to just speak it. Hey, we don't do this. My God doesn't do that. And this little fire comes up inside of me. And I'm like, well, how would you like to present yourself?
Yeah. Right.
And so I asked the Lord, how would you like to say this? He's like, I would never take yours when I gave mine the whole time. If that's enough said right there. But we seem to glass over that because we haven't all embraced that he is truly God's son. So I just was commenting. I don't usually do it. I'm just trying to get used to being on social media because everybody, including you, have been encouraging me to go do it, And this has just been a rough week for me. But I went there and it says, oh, so-and-so commented on this. I'm like, I don't talk to people on there. So what is it, And she made this very great statement from her perspective, how when she lost her special person and how that affected her. And she knew that God would be there and she's helping all these people to adjust. And I'm listening to her truth. And I'm not saying it isn't right or wrong. I'm saying what the message of that scene was not in accordance to God's heart. Do bad things happen? Yes. Do they come from our choices? Yes. Is that his intention and he knew he was going to take him? He knows everything about the future. So I look at that and the impact that it has on the actor even. What did that look like? And so I was like, wow, this is what I get to do when I start posting.
Right.
But to have these, I don't want these conversations, God. I really don't. I really don't want these conversations because I can be direct and my tongue can be sharp and I can cut that fast. Not because I want to cut somebody, but God gave his, he wouldn't ask for mine. That should be enough.
Mhm.
And you just marinate in that for a minute. And if it's different for you, then I bless you. And that's pretty much what I said. So glad you're helping people. So glad that you are loving and taking the best out of that, and doing it for you. And now I'm like, now I have to learn, as you so stated, now I have to learn how to talk on social media.
Yeah.
Like, do I really?
Yeah. I mean, just showing up and being your authentic self. I mean, that's the thing. It's just our society as a whole, like you said. I mean, everything's moving so digital and so fast. And sometimes I was just telling a client earlier this week, I said, honestly, I want to unplug my email. Well, it's not unplugging. Like, I want to turn off my email. I want to shut my phone off and I want to turn my computer off. We're all fatigued and overstimulated, over messaged over this. And, it's like, can we go back to, I'll send you a homing pigeon. I'll chisel it in stone.
I want to get time to think about my response before it gets here.
I mean, I'm not going to walk across the country. I'll still use my car. Like you get the point. I'm being facetious,
I do.
obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's just this level of having to present a certain way. And, I actually, another guy that I follow on social, and we've talked a bit, we're kind of in the same niche and the same circles.
Okay.
And so he was like, is it just me? Or is everybody lately talking about, their authentic self and their authentic message and the this and the that? And I'm like, well, or he's like, or is it like, because I'm looking for a red car, I see a red car everywhere. And I said, well, it could be a little bit of both. But I honestly, my first impression was, hey, we're 15-ish years into social media, right? And like, it's, as a whole, so burnout. And like where social is today is not at all how it started, obviously. But there is just this facade and this intensity of trying to keep up. And a lot of people have built their business, their brand, their livelihood on these platforms. So for them to have a come to Jesus moment or to switch could be very costly for them. But at the same time, people are craving authentic connection. And I think, the aftermath of COVID really exacerbated that because we were forced to learn how to do a new normal. And some people, that's all they do now. It's like I joke, I work from home. So most of what I do, I'm like, I see my kids and my neighbors, but every once in a while I'll get invited to these, mom dinners or coffees. And I open my mouth and I was like, oh, I haven't been socializing enough. I feel a little rusty in like how to talk. Can we get in person?
Yeah. Or you're like, find yourself talking so much. You're like, I'm starving for connection.
Yes.
Did I just take that whole conversation? That was really rude of me. Can you say isolation?
Yes, I know. It's one of those like, okay, gotta practice this. So yeah, it's a wild.
I'm going to read this last sentence. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. So maybe we're in a discovery of who are we?
Yeah.
It's changing. It's an evolution. That's true evolution. We had to adapt to things culturally. We have to adapt to things personally. We were talking about school requirements and things that are necessary for our children and what it was, previous on the phone call, what it was when I was 7 versus when somebody's 7 today.
You mean vaccine schedules, the unspoken, the things that remain unseen? Yeah, well, we can just be honest. Yeah. As a parent, that's hard. What do you do? I don't care.
And our world is masked around control. I look at the word programming, and we learned programming with software engineering, with all the new nuances of business and life and the expansion, right? Everything is now going through this whole engineering of life. And I hear the word programming and I think, wow, that's how I felt growing up. I felt like I didn't know the word. I didn't understand the application, but the word program then was going to the children's event at Christmas.
Right.
And now let's just see how it evolves. And the word program today is, well, you must be an engineer, but the engineer that does it on software programs. And now I'm looking at programming going, we are programmed to respond under the cultural pressures. And if I'm going to live true to my authentic self, I've never been a compliant girl, not because I'm rebellious, but because I see the other side. And then I'm having this engagement with the spirit. He's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to submit to those things, Deborah. It's all about the attitude of your heart. And now I'm like, I'm going to be attacked because I'm not being culturally relevant. And it doesn't have to do with what I feel about you. It has to do with being true to the things that in my decades, which those cute little girls did a very good job going back.
Yeah.
We will put their link in there because you will laugh hard. And I'm looking at the disco thing thinking, I don't think we wore skirts quite that short at the disco, but
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun because you're looking and laughing. And what the whole nuance of their program was, live life, enjoy life. It's going to shift. We both know that from your side to my side. It's going to shift. We need to be true to ourselves because I never want to regret who I was. I never want to regret a season, a year, a decade. I've never measured decades. Every life is a new one. The next year, we're just going to do the next year because you can pull into this narrow perspective, either because you're innocent, because you're young and inexperienced or less experienced, or because you're old and you're aging out of society. And you can't do either. It's like be open because the people that imprinted things in my life, I was 11, she was 55. But that 55-year-old spoke something to that 11-year-old heart that needed it. I've never forgotten her. You know, those are the places I think we need to come together and go, let's have coffee again.
Right.
I told Carrie, I said, we're moving into this house. It is coming to the close. I don't think I've even sent you the address, have I?
Nope. Some point I'll get your address to send you something, but nope, never seen it once.
I think I've sent that to Kate. Well, when I sent it my son, he made this big statement. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But I was
we have different types of statements that we make.
Yes, you do. So I'm looking at that. I said, well, I don't need any larger space. I don't care. I do like the 2-story because my husband's vocal capacity can speak without a coliseum and you'll hear him in the back row, you know? And so I said, I really am going to embrace this whole thing about podcasting. I would love to be able, as we have people come on board and want to support or sponsor, because I would like to bring other people on board. And that is that I can fly them in because I'll have a guest room and we're empty nesters and my dogs are nice, you know, but fly them in and then we can get to know them and build relationships. And then community can really happen face to face instead of just this.
When I come for a visit with my kids, you will get to relive your future 80-year-old self. My kids will come and jump in your bed, and then you can just pretend to be your 38-year-old self. Just borrow my kids for the day.
I will. And I have to say that even Seth's kids, when they would come and spend, my girls, they were little, they lived with me for about 6 months when they were younger parents. And my girls at 15 and 18 still come and get up with me.
I know.
I
loved that with my grandma. But yeah, I know whenever you come to visit, Cohen's always like, Nana's awake. I said, you can go get in her bed. Go wake her. I don't think my kids ever have woken you up because you wake up before the sun in summer Montana, which says a lot.
Well, you don't get much summer, so anyway, I think it's been a great series of events that we're in this place of convergence of a lot of unknown and a lot of reality to have to recognize who we are individually. I can help tell you see what I see in you and share it with you and vice versa. Thank you for all of those compliments. I don't blow them off. I am learning to not just receive, That was something the Lord taught me in my 40s, quite a while ago. But I am learning that there's so much more I have yet to know and understand, that I have to stay fresh with my emotions. Very difficult for me. I've practiced so well how to come into this role, and then I come into this role, and then I have to be this role. Just depends on where I'm at and who I'm with. And we can still be true to ourselves, play every role that we have to face, and or it's required of us, whether it's a job or relationship. Just like I answered that post, I want to be the real me, and I want you to feel like you can be the real you. We're just not going to agree on anything of that, right? On that topic. And it's okay, because however God is using you, however you are finding fulfillment, I want to honor those things, because that's how we all stretch, make room, and become inclusive and not exclusive.
Yeah. So beautiful. Well, I love it. Well, this was fun. This was like an impromptu. This literally felt like coffee, except it's too hot for coffee. So
no, I can't drink it in the mornings. I'm like, I don't even want one. It's too nasty.
I know.
Very good. And I appreciate it. I want to say I will send you my address.
Yes, we will not be posting that in the show notes, though.
Not posting that in the show notes. This has probably been the most uncomfortable purchase of a home. Although I feel like, as they were so kind to say that you are our easiest client we've ever done, everything's so clean. I'm like, then why are we looking for a gnat?
Yes, right.
Ray was saying this morning, he goes, okay, we've passed this phase and this phase. And I said, what phase? Why are they? Oh, they're going to go to the deeper underwriters that are going to help. Like when they send the inspector out, they have to find something. Otherwise, they don't qualify their paycheck, because, I got to find something. And not to be disrespectful to the industry, I hear it from both realtors and
that's not space. Don't go tromping on my space. No, I'm kidding.
But yes, was it yesterday? I got a text from yesterday morning. I got a text from my loan officer. Love her. She did my first, and I was glad I could find her. She goes, the underwriter says that they need a K1. And I said, what are you talking about? And then I had to print it. I said, tell the underwriter to flip through the docs and read them. I have to, And so I said, who is it, my friend? She goes, you should be charging 1% of their commission for doing all the work. And I said, yeah, let's not have that conversation.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Yeah.
But in that place, it's been some of the roughest, and it has challenged me on my beliefs. Raymond said this morning, let's look at plan B. And it hit me. And I didn't say anything. And then later, because our house hasn't sold yet. So for those that don't know, we bought a house and we didn't do it contingent, but our house hasn't sold yet. And, the terms aren't looking real attractive right now with higher interest rates and all this inflation. And I said, well, when God says to do something, we usually do it, and then it works out. But we're into it 4 weeks and we've not had one looky-loo. And that isn't comforting. And so I said, we can't have plan B. And he goes, what? And I said, Jesus doesn't give us plan B. I've always lived by that, but I have to say I'm very uncomfortable. Plan B is looking really good for my natural self. And can we rent this thing? And he said, you're right. We can't look at plan B. And I want to leave this whole conversation with, we get a plan A because we are walking in the identity of God. We know who it is. We have wonderful people around us like you and I and all the others that are surrounding your life. And if you have a little bit of faith as a mustard seed, he will work this out according to your heart's desire and his plan for you. It is not, he has a programmed way you're going to do it. He works with you as your creativity and your growth comes, and he lets you make those choices. And then I have to trust that. I trust him.
Yeah, so good. Well, thank you guys for joining, and thank you for another episode. As my dog is barking, it's a good time to cue off. We will be with you guys for another week, and we'll put everything in the show notes.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening. And please like, share, because what I've found is a lot of you have so many friends that need to hear something, and they value your opinion and your ideologies. So thank you for doing that. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in with us. We pray that you're encouraged and find the truth that will set you free on your journey.
To learn more about Redeeming Her ministry or how to partner with us, please check the show notes for links or visit RedeemingHer.com. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.